everyone, and welcome to the century story of Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. This week we're going to do it slightly differently. We're going to do it as a torn paper story where you try and tear some of the elements or the characters from the story. So you'll need the recycling bag of waste paper. Now, I realise it's quite difficult for sensory students to tear, but a lot of students really like the sound and to pull some of the bits off. And also, paper's a nice texture to scrunch. So you can scrunch paper together. What you might also need is a crown, and thanks to our fantastic team of knitters that have made a crown for everybody. Could do with a hairdryer, and I've connected it to a switch box with switch. Could do with a piece of blue fabric to make the ocean, a towel would do, or a blue bed sheet, and something nice and warm for supper. Custard is one of my favourite things, so I'm going to suggest that my warm supper might be custard. And if you've got a doozy or a switch output aid at home, it'd be nice to record some of the words of the story. So, let's begin. That night, Max wore his wolf suit. I think a white envelope would be good to do, Max. That night, Max wore his wool suit and made mischief of one kind and another. His mother called him Wild Thing. And Max said, I'll eat you up. So he was sent to bed without eating anything. Poor Max. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew, and grew, until his ceiling hung with vines, and the walls became the world all around, and an ocean tumbled by. Ooh. And an ocean tumbled by, with a private boat for Max. Now this is your challenge. Can you use origami to make a private boat for Max? And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max. And he sailed off through night and day. Can you use the hairdryer to make him sail away? And in and out of weeks, and almost over a year, to where the wild things are. And he came to the place where the wild things are. The wild things roared their terrible roars. Can you roar too? And gnash their terrible teeth. Can you gnash yours? They rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws, till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with a magic trick of staring into their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild of all and made him the king of the wild things. So I'm going to use a little bit of glue to stick the crown onto Max. And I'm also going to put my crown on. They made him the king of all wild things. And now, cried Max,
let the wild rumpus start! Now, stop!
said Max, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all things, was lonely. Oh, poor Max. And wanted to be with somebody that loved him best of all. Then all around, from across the world, he smelt good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things said,
oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so.
and Max said,
No!
the wild thing roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye and sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. Can you make him sail again? And into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. Lovely. I hope you enjoy being a wild thing with Max.